Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrice, and in this episode I am going to be giving you the best cozy mystery series according to me. And now let's get started. So I'm going to start with two OGs of mysteries. So if you have started mysteries like since you were a kid, or you're looking for an introductory mystery series that I think you should read, like everyone should read if you like mysteries, here we go. Number one, Nancy Drew, the ultimate OG mystery series. So, Nancy Drew, if you have not heard of Nancy Drew, she's a teenage sleuth. Her dad is a lawyer. Her mom died when she was a baby, and they have a housekeeper named Hannah who helps to raise her. And Nancy solves these mysteries with her best friends, Bess and George, and then they also have like their boyfriends who are involved in helping them solve mysteries as well. Now, I started with this series not with the blue and gold covered books, but I started with the Nancy Drew Files, and those were like a more updated version, like during the 80s and the 90s. And Nancy, I think she was like in high school and like going all over the country, like solving these mysteries. And I like this series because I I think you don't have to start them in order. So this is a good series. If you just want to pick one up, you can pretty much follow like what's going on. And I love Nancy. Like she was smart and brave, and I like Bess and George as well. One cool fact that I just found out recently was that the author Carolyn Keene, that was actually a pseudonym, because actually a group of ghostwriters um, wrote the Nancy Drew series. So the publishing house hired various writers to produce the books that were in the series. But I think the first 56 books with like the blue and gold cover, those are considered the originals, and everything after that is just like a newer series, or considered like a different series altogether. So, number one, Nancy Drew. You must start with this. Following at number two would be Encyclopedia Brown by Donald J. Sobol. And I'm just looking at my computer to get my notes. So, Encyclopedia Brown, his real name is Leroy, and he was a kid detective, and he lived in Idaville. And I believe he was 10 years old. And he knew like lots of trivia. So he ended up solving like mysteries for like his friends and the people in his town. And even like the chief of police would seek him out for him to help solve these mysteries. And like I said, he was more like, he knew like lots of trivia that he used. To me, the books read more like logic problems that you could solve. And that's why I like that series. I also liked it because he was a young sleuth. And like these books, these Nancy Drew and Encyclopedia Brown are books that I read when I was younger. So that was nice just to see young people represented. Let's see. Number three, The Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries series by Emily Brightwell. Now, this series, I think this is a perfect starter series for people getting into mysteries. One, because they are very well written books, and then two, like, I've never felt like with the inspectors and Mrs. Jeffries that like the solution didn't make sense. I always felt like you could follow along with the mystery, like there were plenty of clues and red herrings and twists and turns, um, but you could follow along and solve it with the characters in the book. Give you a little bit of overview. So the inspector is Gerald Witherspoon, and he works for Scotland Yard, and Mrs. Jeffries is his housekeeper. So he does not know that Mrs. Jeffries and the rest of the household staff helps him to solve his cases. Now his boss, Inspector Nivens, has worked out that the household helps him, and he's trying to expose Inspector Witherspoon. So there's a little bit of tension with that. But like I said, the mysteries are like very, very good. Like if you like BBC, like mysteries and stuff, like, because these are set in London or whatnot. So like Downton Abbey in that kind of show, you would like these books. Very, very good. Again, I like them because, like I said, the mysteries are satisfying to solve. But I love the characters like Mrs. Jeffries, Inspector Witherspoon, and then like the other cast of characters. The other cast of characters that are in the series are like very engaging. Like there's nobody that I really don't like in the books. Let's see. I do suggest that you read these books in order because there is character development, like in the characters' lives and stuff like that. Like some of them get married, and then some of the characters like move on to other jobs and stuff, and then they bring in more people. So yes, read this series in order. Number 4, the fourth series that I think is one of the best cozy mystery series is the Claire Malloy series by Joan Hess. And this series we follow Claire Malloy, who is a bookseller, and she is on the campus of Farberville College. So she's like a bookseller for the college. And her deceased husband, he was a professor there, but he died. He got hit by a chicken truck. And he was also having an affair with like one of the students or something like that. So now Claire is raising like their daughter. And I love this series because this is the like one of the first series where I just like laughed out loud. Like the humor in this series, it's so funny. Claire is funny, and then her daughter Karen is funny, and then her daughter has a friend named Inez, and she's hilarious too. And just like the sorts of like trouble that they get into, and there's a little bit of romance. Claire ends up dating like the detective that she helps solve the cases for, and that's pretty good too. Let me see what else. They are very well written mysteries. Again, like it's satisfying to figure out the clues and figure out who done it. I would suggest also reading this series in order. You can pick up what's happening, but like I said, just because Claire and the detective get together and then you follow along with her daughter and everything as she grows up, and then she heads to college. So I would suggest reading it in order. Number 5 is the Gaslight Mystery Series by Victoria Thompson. And I've actually reviewed one of Victoria Thompson's books on my channel before, but the whole series is very, very enjoyable. So this series follows Sarah Brandt, who is a midwife, and she ends up solving like a series of mysteries, like just interacting and dealing with the people that she meets as she's serving as a midwife. And she also helps a detective, and his name is Sergeant Malloy, and they end up getting married, and Sergeant Malloy has a son, Brian, who is deaf, and then Claire ends up adopting a daughter named Catherine. And I do suggest reading these in order because there are other plot points and characters that are developed over the over the series. Sorry, not season. It's not a TV show. It's books. So over the series, there are some plot points and like some characters from previous books. They show up in following books. So you do want to read it in order. In this series, it's a historical fiction cozy that is set in New York City, and it's kind of like the Victorian era. So I like it because it gives you like a lot of history of what was going on in the United States during this time, and usually like a lot of the cozies are based like in London. So this was nice to see what was happening in the United States. And the characters are so lovely, very well written, lots of clues and red herrings to keep your attention. This is definitely like when she would come out with a book, I would immediately like head to the library to pick it up. Unfortunately, there will be no more books in the series because the author has passed away. But it still is something that I would suggest you guys read, even though like some of the plot points won't be finished now. Number 6 on the list is the Hamish McBeth series by MC Beaton. And this series has a little bit more edge to it, like for a cozy. Like usually cozies, it's like small towns and, like it's like an amateur sleuth who's solving the mysteries. But in this one, this is actually a story about Hamish McBeth, who is a sergeant in a village in the Scottish Highlands called Lochdo. And he has like no ambition. Like he loves being in his small little village. Like he kind of grew up in the area, and he has like a little police station, and he has a dog and a cat. And he just, he does not want to move up in the ranks. So sometimes, like even when he solves like his crimes and stuff like that, he'll give the credit to like his superiors, just so that, they don't move him up in the ranks. Like he wants to stay like in this small village, and he's kind of scared like they're gonna close the police station down. So he does like just enough so that they keep it open. And there is a bunch of drama with his superior officer. Like they are like gunning for each other, like literally, in the books. And there's like a lot of like intrigue and plot development. There's also like a little bit of fantasy because um like magic and fantasy, just because they are in the Highlands and they do believe in like fairy magic, and like, you know, that seals are sort of like magical. They call them kelpies. um and he also has like a love triangle going on. He has like an ex-fiance, and then he ends up with a reporter, and the reporter kind of has like the second sight. So yeah, like it's a lot going on in this series, but I like it because there is that little bit of edge to it. Like Hamish, he gets caught up with like counterfeiters and like murderers, and like there's a special agent that's in one of the books who comes from the United States, and they are trying to get the spy ring. Um, so a lot going on. And also this book series they turned into a TV series, which is on the BBC. So um, I've watched a couple of episodes of it, and I did enjoy it. They kept to, you know, like mainly like the stories of the books. Um, but yes, so I would suggest you read this in order just because of all the plot points and development. And again, some of the characters from previous books, they show up in the later books. Um, let's see. This author, she also just recently passed away, but she was working with like a friend of hers to collaborate on the book. So even though she passed away, like we still got some recent additions in the series, and they were still good. Like I think you could tell a little bit that it wasn't her writing, but the books were still good. So I would still suggest this series. And the last series that I would put in my best cozy mystery selection would be the Veronica Spedwell Mysteries by Deanna Raybourn. And in this series, Veronica Spedwell is um, a butterfly hunter, and she gets caught up with a gentleman who's actually he's he's not only a taxidermist, but he is also like part of like a high ranking family, but he's like the black sheep of the family. So they get thrown together to solve some mysteries. And this series contains a bit of spice. So if you are into spice, um, this would be a good series for you to read. This is also like a Victorian mystery historical fiction, which is set in London. And the main characters are very, very enjoyable. I like Veronica. She's very take charge. Like, she's like a boss. Like for her time in this era that the author is writing about. And um, this series, they are very funny as well. Like their banter, so the taxidermist, his name is Stoker. So Stoker and Veronica's banter is very funny, and I enjoy that. And they get mixed up in the craziest scenarios. Um, so I believe the 10th book in this series is on its way, according to the author. So that will be interesting, and I do recommend that you read these in order, um, just because to me that makes things easier to keep track of. You can read them out of order, but I just like knowing all of the background stuff. that's the end of this video. And I have given you 7 of my favorite cozy mystery series. I think I will keep this topic going by giving you some of my favorite wife and husband duos and maybe some of my favorite food cozies as well. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.